You're listening to Mississippi Ghost and Cryptids Podcast, where we discuss all things paranormal.
Hi.
Taco Tuesday! I got it before you did.
We can't start. We can never start correctly.
It is Taco Tuesday, as Terry pointed out, and it's a new episode of MGC Podcast.
Which stands for?
Mississippi Government Conspiracy.
You better quit saying that. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Speaking of conspiracies, what'd you find, Bobby?
Well, on here that this was an article.
I'm still trying to find it, so go ahead.
Okay. It's called Black Knight, 13,000-year-old satellite mystery decoded. And it was from October 5th, 2019. On Gaia, it was from an episode of Seeking Truth, Seeking Secrets and Cover-Ups, and in a different show called Conspiracy.
Why would it be a conspiracy?
Yeah, keep going, because
You still looking?
I'm still looking. What's it called? Black Knight?
Yep, a Black Knight.
Okay, tell us all about it.
So on here, it's the little preview into the article says, space debris or 13,000-year-old satellite. A mysterious object dubbed the Black Knight orbits the Earth, puzzling scientists of the past and present. Some, like the inventor and scientist Nikola Tesla, claim to have received radio signals from the orbiting figure. Astronaut Gordon Cooper was adamant that in 1963 he saw it from his own spacecraft. The documented history of the existence of the Black Knight continues to mystify scientists.
The fact that they're looking at this, which honestly looks like space junk, and they're calling it a satellite, and they also gave it a
Name.
13,000-year-old
Time designate?
time.
Yeah.
How in the hell would they figure that out? This is not like organically testing for something that, a fossil.
I mean, unless they sent something there to get samples and then they did carbon testing.
I guess so. I mean, it is
But
fascinating, but
Since they brought up Nikola Tesla, that guy,
That
he
guy.
invented the car, huh?
he did a terrible job.
So it says, although Nikola Tesla's inventions changed the way people live back today,
Yeah.
in 1899, his peers viewed him as an eccentric and somewhat of a mad scientist, kind of like us.
Yeah.
When he built a laboratory and a 210-foot tower in Colorado Springs in order to experiment with electricity and record electromagnetic disturbances, his colleagues did not take him seriously. See, I feel just like I know how that man feels.
You do on this podcast, right?
I do, right.
Yep.
From YouTube, right here.
Yep.
When he reported that he had received signals from extraterrestrials, say that word for me?
Terrestrials?
Yeah, that word.
Extraterrestrial.
Ebens. The newspapers of the day mocked him. So back then in 1899, he was saying that he received something
I see that.
from extraterrestrials.
Radio experiments done by
And what's
Tesla.
Yeah, so once again, it was the whole, he was able to tie into that EM frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is, like, there was no radio around in 1899.
Are you sure about that? Yes.
No.
Wasn't there?
No.
We
Yeah.
didn't have at least.
In the 20s. And that's if you had money.
Want me to Google it?
Google it.
Okay.
They were still trying to, it's kind of like, let's put it this way. In 1899, people didn't really have electricity.
Well, I know they didn't have electricity because, I know that's what he was working on, was an electricity that could go worldwide.
Well, yeah, because Nikola Tesla was, he founded the DC or direct current.
Yeah, right.
Right. It was Edison that was AC, which is alternating current, which
Right.
we have in our households.
Right.
So it took a while to harness and distribute that kind of
Power.
power. So thus being said, we wouldn't have had radio if we didn't have electricity.
Okay, so you gotta be right about that one. God. Okay, I'll give you that. 1 point for Chris. But anyway.
1 point for Gryffindor.
Yes, sir. What you got?
In 1897, Tesla applies for several wireless power patents.
Right. Because, okay, so you're aware of the Tesla coil.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And anything around it would have been, it's like static.
Electrified.
And you do not want to be near that sucker when it's going off. Yeah.
I thought you made in the cages though, right?
It was in a cage, but it's that cylindrical
Oh, okay. Yeah.
coil.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it emitted, you talk about being EMF sensitive.
Yeah, he was, what wasn't he designing it for over-the-air electricity?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So where we didn't have
Yeah.
these cables that
Right,
go
yeah,
down
so he
during a
didn't have it, right.
hurricane and
So
all
all the
that kind of stuff.
patents that he applied for and whatever.
Yeah.
When he passed away, literally penniless, in like a one-room hotel somewhere.
The aliens came got him.
Actually, they came and took all his stuff.
Yes, they did.
All this stuff was taken.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Conspiracy?
It kind of and also does it say in there? Well, we'll let you continue on. I'm just wondering how he was able to hear that communication
from the Black Knight.
Right.
I was going to say, well, all it goes on to say here is, despite the ridicule of his peers, Tesla was excited about the signals he received and came to fervently believe that he had been the first to hear the greetings from one planet to another. A purpose was behind these electrical signals. Researchers now believe that the signals Tesla received likely came from the Black Knight. Modern history of the Black Knight. So, although there were some reports, I'm trying.
No.
Take a nap.
I'm thinking.
There's reports in the 1930s
It's my brain working.
of the astronomers around the world receiving strange radio signals. In 1954, the St. Louis Dispatch ran an article titled "Artificial Satellites Are Circling Earth." Right on those saucers. Writer on saucers says the reference writer was Donald E. Kehoe, who wrote about unidentified satellites orbiting the Earth. He claimed that the government knew about them and was trying to discover their source. Kehoe later wrote a book, Aliens in Space, the real story of the unidentified flying objects, where he documented his knowledge of UFOs, including what he knew about the Black Knight. Gaia's Deep Space series discusses some of his work.
So,
yes, sir.
A fun fact of thing I found here was Tesla's radio test was identified as pulsars, but they didn't know that they were actually pulsars until I think they were 1968.
when that's what they got classified as.
Right. So what's odd is that he must have had written documentation of this because there was no recording of this.
Right.
So how
Right.
they figure it was pulsars, they must have gone off of what he did. Now, here's another thing. Let's rewind time to when we were not alive.
Got that music for that. There we go.
In 1899, Nikola Tesla inventing radio waves.
I'm enjoying the voice. Keep going.
So no. So how much power do you think he had to have to broadcast something to jump off of a freaking satellite
That he didn't know was there.
that he didn't know was there, but we didn't have, there was nothing in space
No radar.
that we put up there.
Right. And that's what I think what that is referring to.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, can you imagine? I mean, okay, like our communication with things on Mars, and even something as simple as our moon landing, right? Communicating that far away is nuts. And these aren't microwave. This is like RF.
Yeah, right.
Like regular,
Walkie-talkie.
pretty much an amplified a two-way radio.
Wasn't a can with a string.
They just ran that string all the way into space. It was the big cams though.
It was a big can.
Yeah, the big peaches.
With
Yeah,
peaches.
It was Folgers.
Ravioli.
Folgers God. So,
But
I mean, think about that. Think about what kind of amplitude a radio, even in testing, like beta phase.
well, I mean, not even that is. They just stated that they classified it as a pulsar,
Pulsar, yes.
but supposedly all of Tesla's documentation disappeared.
Oh, yes, it did.
Okay,
Right.
so
So
in
who
order
you
in order to classify what he saw, or it is now considered a pulsar.
we assume all of this stuff disappeared. And what I'm thinking is that some of it was patented, some of it was registered and whatnot. And the stuff that disappeared were the things that he was still working on.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that right there was just a jot. Hey, I found this. He didn't patent that he heard a radio.
No, I'm assuming that in the it doesn't say it here.
I'm going to say this. So in 1899, that's when that happened. The telegraph was in 1843.
Okay.
That's a series of electrical impulses, but that's not over.
Right, but if he's receiving something from a satellite,
Oh shit. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay.
so those sounds have
Right.
been like for the telegraph.
Well, it would be its own. It would be pulse. It wouldn't be because a telegraph is a series of,
Like,
but they all equal letters, right?
well, yeah,
each-
because they've created
We
created that.
We've created
That's
that.
what I'm saying. So
Morse
if
code.
he thought he got his first signal
Well, it depends on what frequency that signal was received on, too.
Right, because again, him just testing this radio thing out is because I'm okay.
Because that had to transmit and receive of a certain signal over a certain length.
Well, the point,
it came through a wire.
Well, the point in the 1840s of this whole telegraph thing, that was for trains. That was originally designed for trains, and it was via wire.
That's what I said.
Yeah. No, this is radio.
I can't read the wire.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is that this wasn't broadcasted. It wasn't until like the early teens, like when you think of like the Titanic, right?
Yeah.
Well, even telephone was wire.
Oh yeah. What do you mean? We didn't have cell phones in 1899.
According to some of the pictures I've seen, someone did. Time traveler.
Time traveling.
I don't know how he's communicating with anybody because there's no satellite.
Towers.
Yeah.
Can't even charge the thing.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. So I wonder if he received it like telegraph signals.
Well,
I mean, it doesn't say. It does not say.
Yeah, it doesn't say, and I'm just kind of wondering
I was
what
trying to see what he heard to interpret that.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody just talked to me.
It would have probably been the equivalent, if I had to guess, the equivalent of telegraph signals without being telegraph signals. Does that make sense?
No,
I'm
confused now.
It wouldn't have been wireless. I mean, of course, what he picked up as well as it wouldn't have been a wireless telegraph signal. I think.
Well, it says Tesla claimed to have received radio signals from orbiting figure, but we didn't have radios, so that had to be had to come through then as telegraph signals.
Well, no, he received a radio signal. That's why it was weird that it wasn't a telegraph signal.
So then that would be.
Well, they call it pulsars, which I don't think.
Describe a pulsar for me. I'm an idiot.
No. A pulsar. I mean, it's exactly what it's a pulse. It's an electronic pulse.
Which does what?
It's just
if you charge it right.
Let me see.
No. I mean, I'm just sitting here. Because really, I'm sitting here. I'm just shaking my head like I know, but I'm not going. I don't know.
Let's pretend like we're messing with radio signals, right? And we have like a speaker of some kind, and you hear like something like that.
Okay, so click.
That's
a pulse.
I would assume, or a beep.
So it says a pulsar from pulsating radio source is a highly magnetized rotation. Oh, that's a neutron star.
Thank you, neutron stars.
I would assume it's like a beep or a click of some sort that was not a Morse code transmission.
But didn't
we can't hear you because the mic's not on your face. Thank you.
Jeez.
I don't want to get that damn email.
Don't we get it in a message?
Oh.
Comment below.
Beep, beep, see, beep, beep. Yeah, that's why I'm wondering. They classified it as a pulsar, but everything I'm looking for is pulsar. I mean, points back to outer space,
right? Because that's what it is, intergalactical. I mean, it's it's outer spatial.
Did we have something in our paranormal field that we connected to, especially connected to a microphone that worked off of magnets that did something like that too, with like for signals?
Oh crap! Yeah, we tried.
Because I bought that crap. I
did. I forgot about that.
You bought that crap.
Stop.
It was
because we didn't use it because it was not going to be an audio.
Well, we never used it enough to actually see if it worked.
Right.
I remember that because we were like, okay, it's a microphone that doesn't pick up traditional sound.
Mm-hmm.
It picked up vibrations.
It picked up like sort of. It wasn't
like
it
picked up pulsars.
It only picked up pulsars, nothing else. It it didn't pick up traditional sound. And it wasn't like a geophone.
Right.
It was a way of anyone we were trying to contact, they would be able to manipulate that.
Right.
And it was a magnetic form of thing.
You said, because I remember you saying something about speakers and the ways
we were trying to find other ways of, and it was cool that you went out and got that, but we never messed with it enough to see if it
wouldn't have shown shit.
Oh, birds aren't real, huh?
No. They're all alien robots spying on us.
Oh my God.
Now they're going to know we know what they are. Thanks, Terry. We've been trying to let them believe what they were. So anyway, on this, and anyway, get back to this little thing here. Although there was some reports in 1930s of astronomers around the world receiving strange radio signals, in 1954, the St. Louis Dispatch ran an article titled "Artificial Satellites Are Circling Earth." Okay, so Mr. Kehoe did his thing. Scientists.
What'd you call him?
Kehoe.
It's Keyhoe. How would you say it?
No, I'm just saying.
Come on now, help me out here. Mr. Donald, that's his first name. We'll go Mr. Donald.
Donnie.
Mr. Donald Scientists and astronomers reported seeing the satellites as they orbited the Earth in 1953. A professor at the University of New Mexico saw a blip of unknown origin. In 1957, Dr. Lewis, I'm going to screw that name up.
Mr. Lewis.
Dr. Lewis, with the communications ministry in Venezuela, was taking pictures of the Russian satellite Sputnik 2 as it passed over Caracas. I got that one. The black knight showed up on its photographs. This was the first known actual picture of the object. In 1960, an American satellite showed the object following Sputnik 1, which was still orbiting the Earth, and the UFO was in a polar orbit.
So now they're saying it's a UFO and not a satellite.
They've been saying, but I didn't get to the end of the article. But I read the article, so I read it and found out that that's what it was.
I mean, you're looking at the picture of this thing, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, you don't know what it looks like?
No, what does it look like?
Not a UFO.
Looks like a dead dolphin in the sky.
Yeah.
Looks like a piece of rock.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like an asteroid?
They're declaring this
That's a ship.
Space junk. Or
Well,
That's a ship.
So, anyway. You got it?
Little down. Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
So
Thank you for the visual.
Thanks, Chris.
So you can imagine this in your head all you want, but when you see this picture, this was taken in '98, so it really wasn't that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still unknown origin.
And it's still unknown origin. So this is 100 years after the first contact. of
I
some
know
sort.
what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. It is what dropped the seed to create humanity.
Nope.
That is God. No, just kidding. Spaceship God. That's
God
his
is-
name. If you zoom in, it's written right on the side.
So you're saying God is space junk?
Yeah, well, if you
Oh.
zoom in, it says God. That's the name of the ship.
Oh.
It could have been
So,
dog. It could have been
does
reversed.
say
but-
that in 1960s, Time
be dog.
magazine, as well as other news publications, reported on the Black Knight and referred to it as possibly having extraterrestrial origin.
Well, I don't think there's no possibility about it. It's got to be extraterrestrial. We didn't put it up there.
Nope. And in 1963, astronaut Gordon
I mean,
Cooper.
Volcanoes shoot it up into space.
And it's just floating around?
yes.
Could be.
Actually, yes.
Part of volcanic
Actually, yes.
rock.
Yes, it does. At the same time, an astronaut.
Take two.
97. In 1963, astronaut Gordon Cooper was orbiting the Earth when he saw and said a glowing green light ahead of this space capsule. At the same time, a tracking station in Australia over which the spacecraft was orbiting at the time reported seeing the object on radar. The Evening News reported on Cooper sightings, and for the first time, the object was referred to as the Black Knight satellite. The name stuck, but Cooper's report did not. They took the astronaut Cooper's report away.
Oh, they were like,
oh,
nope.
you
Nope.
didn't see anything.
Well, that's what they said.
Well-
NASA soon debunked Cooper's UFO sighting, claiming that there
course.
had been a malfunction in the space capsule,
Of
which
course.
caused gases to emit, which appeared glowing light.
Because that
Of
was my
course.
theory. My theory was, what if he was
Yeah.
just seeing the green glow? You know, like swamp gas?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like that. I think that's too much hydrogen.
it's fake.
Versus, and it's a naturally occurring thing. Well, most of the outer atmosphere in space is hydrogen.
Well, they just said that the results said that NASA was that Cooper had an hallucination and did not see a UFO. Cooper later confirmed that he had definitely seen a UFO on his 1963 space orbit, and that NASA had prohibited him from discussing it
Yeah.
until his death in 2004. Cooper claimed that he did not have an hallucination in that spacecraft, but saw a UFO. He was very vocal during his lifetime about his belief in the existence of extraterrestrial life and his frustration that the U.S. government continued to cover up evidence of alien contacts.
Oh yeah.
In 1998, astronauts on the Space Shuttle Endeavour, on their way to the International Space Station, ISS, took photographs of the object. NASA, so there's another
It's-
one. So you got 1980 there, right?
No, that was 98.
98?
That had to have been taken from the
So that
Endeavour.
must have been then. Of the object. NASA again disagreed with the astronauts and claimed that they saw the photograph was not of a UFO, but instead of just space debris, that most likely a thermal blanket.
Like, do you think it's kind of odd? Do you think NASA's the one actually covering it up, or
Yep.
is it another agency telling NASA to cover
Oh,
it
it's
up?
definitely another agency telling NASA because NASA's going to
I
earn
would've
money
thought
from that
It's
agency.
NASA. It's NASA at that point, and then they dissolved NASA
Yeah.
Well,
and threw all that
Space Force?
underneath
Oh,
underneath
yeah.
a new umbrella,
Space Force?
I think, for more control.
what's odd is that we have Space Force, but Space Force is actually under the Air Force.
Where it should be.
It's on top.
Go Air Force.
Oh, yeah.
We fly high, or we don't fly at all.
Mile High Club. Ooh. Take that rocket to the moon.
Nope.
Anyway.
You want to tell our listeners what you just said?
Nope. No, I don't. Influential
I
people.
mark it explicit anyway, so.
Robbie's like, I'll go on vacation soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of Mile High.
Got the ocean air? No. Shut up, Bobby.
Yeah.
Influential people and highly respected authors, movie producers, and directors, and members of the secret societies have claimed to receive communications from alien beings, including signals from the Black Knight. Gene Roddenberry, the creator of the Star Trek television series and movies, and almost a household name in 1973 to 74, he's reportedly associated with a secret society called the Council of the Nine. The Nine, in the brief, were a group of prominent people. Yeah, y'all never heard of that?
No.
I actually have heard. I know something else you two don't know.
You probably sent us information on it.
I actually have sent information.
Talk to us when you can pee standing up.
She can. She'll just make a mess.
Actually, we have funnels for that shit now.
It's Shiwi.
We have a Shiwi.
Yeah, but you can't tell if the water's cold. So
Don't need to. Sometimes you gotta cool the hotness off. Anyway, he's probably
Cream.
Iced tea. I don't know.
He's a rapper. Anyway.
The Nine, in a brief, were a group of prominent people who were believed that the channeled messages received by their leaders were actually messages sent by extraterrestrials.
Wait. By their leaders?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So they implemented themselves as aliens?
Illuminati.
The Nine, Chris. The Nine.
Oh, the leaders of the Nine?
The leaders of the Nine.
Okay.
Roddenberry alleges
movie needs to be made about this.
Allegedly based his Star Trek episodes on what he learned from the Nine, including the giveaway title he chose for a post-Star Trek series called Deep Space Nine.
Oh, I thought that was nothing.
Nice.
Yes, this is a whole different show.
I saw that show. I saw
Many
D6.
believe the source of this channeled messages was the Black Knight. Author Philip K. Dick claimed that they have communications with alien beings. The way he described his
We are
first
so immature.
I know.
You're trying to hold that laugh back.
She emphasized it so bad.
Like I was like, when I saw it, I was like, I can see it. I was like, ooh, I can see it.
Can't wait for tonight. Anyway.
Call him up.
Would have to take a break after
Call
this
Big
episode.
D.
Being in February of 1974 is consistent with some of the captured coded messages from the Black Knight. Dick's Valis trilogy was according.
What did you just say?
You heard me. According to those who knew him on a research, really a fictionalized autobiography and not a science fiction. It pulled from his communications with an alien entity, which were likely from the Black Knight.
This is the worst porno
So,
I've ever heard.
so I'm taking it the Black Knight could possibly be a scout ship.
I'm going with you. I'm not disputing
From that long? Oh, that's okay. Something just getting within our.
It's a scout,
Well,
and it's
the
just
thing is,
monitoring.
you saw the picture I showed you.
Yeah.
You saw how close it was to Earth.
Yeah.
It means it's still in orbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has not fell or been burnt up. Yes.
Right. So it's.
And we've already had how many satellites fall back to Earth?
Right. Well, I doubt. I mean, I'm not saying that this will fall back to Earth, but it's been 24 years since that picture was taken.
It never came from Earth, so it can't fall back to Earth.
It's a boomerang.
It just stopped.
That we know of.
As it came in, it just stopped.
The Mayas and the Aztecs and the Incas and the Egyptians
Yeah.
all got together and put it up there.
Well, there are reports.
The Sumerians could have done it.
There are reports of aliens living within our volcanoes.
Well, not
Well,
only
theories,
I
not
was gonna
reports.
say, well, not only that, but
That's
there's
far-fetched.
no,
Ooh.
you don't know.
A volcano is like a direct port to our mantle.
A butthole.
That's a,
The Earth's butthole.
That's a
I was gonna
prolapsed
say, but
butthole
just
there.
okay. So this is going to be for a whole different episode.
Yes.
But the volcanic lava tubes and stuff like that have been known to spread all over the continent.
That's because of the platelets in the Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But tunnels.
But tunnels, and then when these things are being explored, different types of alien beings are being discovered.
Underwater aliens.
So.
Right off the top, huh?
No, I'm playing the spaceship coming out of the volcano.
And I was gonna say they've been seen. There's spaceships being seen flying into volcanoes and out of volcanoes being recorded.
Like those 5 from back in 1940.
What's the funny
Mount
from
Everest? Was it Mount Everest?
No, Mount Everest.
Which one is it? It was in
The one
Washington
that
State.
okay, that was Everest that blew up. Yes.
Everest was a volcano?
Please,
It's
Lord.
a dormant volcano, I believe.
It was.
I just thought it was a giant rock formation. I didn't realize it was a volcano.
Google,
Okay.
please heal me.
He's so little. He's so young. It's okay.
I get that a lot from people.
It's
Wait, how do you
okay.
spell Mount?
Well, since I type it a lot.
Wow, Google's listening because that was the first thing to pop up. Mount Everest.
Not even Kilimanjaro.
Not Kilimanjaro.
I think that's taller than
Nope.
Everest, right? K2.
Sure. Oh, wait, no. Everest is not in Washington. Which
No.
one's in Washington?
That's another one. Anyway, Everest did have a big major explosion, and that was all over. It went everywhere.
Isn't it called Mount?
Everest.
No, Everest isn't.
Oh.
Mount. Anyway,
Yeah.
going back, like you said, that's probably a whole nother.
Yeah, it's a whole nother episode.
But it's kind of interesting. U.S. says it's not ours, but someone, for some reason, was able to date it back that far.
Well, that's that
13,000
carbon
years.
dating.
How'd they get close enough?
They would have had to.
It's that carbon dating.
I
I hate carbon dating. That's such a bullshit thing.
That's all we know.
We just lost more listeners now with
don't
your
care.
theory on carbon
I
dating.
hate carbon dating.
Bobby's
It's
like,
bullshit.
dinosaurs are fake.
Fake.
No. I love dinosaurs.
You like carbon dating?
I do not like carbon dating.
Like
It's
those fake angels. Anyway,
it's fake.
Oh.
I can program. Okay, I want this to be this many years old. So if something pops up with
I
this
have no idea
signature,
how
it
it
has to be
works.
that many years
I
old.
mean, it's taking samples.
It's all man-made.
Like 26
Oh,
million
yeah.
years, and you're like,
It's all man-made.
the formulas are made by man, so
26 million? Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't even have freaking humans back then. What are you talking about, you know?
the Black Knight was still there.
No, only 13,000.
That they can guesstimate
But
back
that's
to.
if they have it carbon dated correctly.
Yeah, exactly. They could use different.
Calibrated.
If they do a different algorithm,
Well, what if they don't have the way to really test them?
Well,
so
if
they just
they-
thought, oh my
yeah,
god.
maybe they go instead of U.S. standard to metric.
Maybe there's a metallic substance.
Oh.
All right.
Another episode
Yep,
of
yep. So that'll be it for that one.
Government Conspiracy.
That's interesting. Thank you, Bobby.
Y'all are welcome. I had nothing else to do.
Okay.
You said that enough. Never mind. Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
And remember, sometimes the paranormal can still be normal.
Follow MGC Podcast on Facebook and YouTube.